Hello, Dr. Brown, and any other person who may be watching this video. So the topic that I chose to do is sports psychology is arousal. So we're going to look deeper into this topic as the video continues. Let's first start out with what the definition of arousal is. Arousal is a blend of psychological and physiological activity in a person, and it refers to the level of motivation / alertness and excitement at a particular moment. So for example, you could be facing a lot of arousal when you're playing in a sports game, or when you have like a really important tennis match or a really important basketball game. Anything like that, you're going to experience high arousal. So this chart is a chart that we went over a lot in class, and it kind of shows your arousal level and how it relates to your performance. So when you have a low arousal level, your performance is going to be either inactive, or when it's medium, your performance is going to be more laid back. But when you have a nice medium level of arousal, you're going to have your best performance playing that sport or doing that activity. And also when you're anxious, as you can see at this chart over here, when you're anxious and you're stressed out, you can have a lot of arousal and you can panic and have anxiety, and you can kind of get mad at yourself when you're playing a sport. This chart kind of shows something similar. When you're stressed out, how much sleep you get, your alertness, and all of that is kind of a balance between your anxiety and your disorganization. Athletes need to maintain an optimal level of arousal when they're playing a sport. Little or too much arousal can affect how you perform at a task, and arousal is determined by psychological processes like emotions. So an example of someone who has a lot of anxiety, like high anxiety and arousal, is Kobe Bryant, the basketball player. Arousal and anxiety go hand in hand in sports performance, and everyone has to find their sweet spot and balance, and he's an example of a player who definitely has. A quote by him is, "Everything negative, pressure, challenges is all an opportunity for me to rise." So all of that anxiety that he feels, he uses that towards having the best performance possible during his games, and he's definitely known for that when playing. Another player who talks about arousal and anxiety is Steph Curry. A quote by him is, "I've never been afraid of big moments. I get butterflies, I get nervous and anxious, but I think those are all good signs that I'm ready for the moment." So he talks about the level of anxiety and arousal and how he uses all of those emotions and that anxiety to fuel him to have his best performance. However, everyone is not like that. Some people will crack under that pressure, but he chooses to ride from it. Sports can cause a change in hormone levels, blood flow, and create arousal when you're playing. So a lot of athletes can choke because they have too much arousal or too much anxiety. So they're kind of over on the scale and over on the chart. And arousal levels can change for different sports. So between dance and football, you're probably going to have different levels of arousal. So like example, when you're playing a track meet, that stress and arousal level is going to be different, for example, than when you're playing a tennis match, because it's going to be different fears when it comes to playing the sport. And that's the end.